What it do, comic babies? I'm Bunkmaster B, and we're going to do something we haven't done in a little while. We're going to open some original art. This year, I've definitely slowed down on original art a little bit. Tried to be a little bit more discerning. Tried to kind of choose my pieces a little bit more. But I got a few that I've been sitting on for a little while, and I didn't want to keep them to myself. So, wanted to go ahead and open these here with you. Total that we're going to see right here are going to be 4 pieces, and they're from two different art agencies, 4 different artists, 4 different pages. 2 of the artists that are going to be here are going to be artists that I have picked up pieces from previously. 2 of them are completely new to me. We're going to start off here with a familiar one. If you've watched any of my unboxings before, you probably heard me mention Comic-Con Art out of Tennessee. They are, at this point, they've probably been the place I've opened the most from. And we've got 3 pieces that are going to be in this one right here. So let's check these guys out first. So we open up the outside. In the past, they've always done a padded mailer. This time they did just kind of a standard envelope, but around it, standard thing, USPS box, around... Actually, this is different too. Normally they've done big backer boards. These are... I don't know if this is one of the ones that they've sent previously or from someone else, but these right here are what they've normally sent in the past. These ones, it's cardboard. It's thick cardboard, and I have no doubt that the pieces are going to be completely fine inside. But that is different. Never seen them do that before. When you're opening a piece of original art, you got to be very, very careful. Just little tiny cuts. If there's any kind of plastic sheet like we have right here, you want to just run right over it. So like I said, there's going to be 3 pieces from 3 different artists in here. All right. Nope. I think I showed a little too much off there. So, let's flip it around. First page we have right here. This is Jeff Lemire. This is a page from Mazebook. I want to say this is from issue 3. So, the way that this came about... Lemire used to be on Cadence, and Cadence obviously is no more. And I've been subscribed to the Comic-Con Art newsletter for a little while now, and I got the email that they had some of his new pages from the new series Minor Arcana coming out from Boom Studios, and I was like, oh, I'll go ahead and check those out. Clicked on it. Wasn't feeling any of those, but was shocked to see that they still had a number of pages from Mazebook, which came out a few years ago, and was one of my favorite books of the year. If you are any kind of a fan of dad books, sad dad books about dads trying to do, get kids and things like that, like this book was right there for you. And like I said, really reasonably priced. And I've never owned any Lemire art before, so this seemed like a great time to do so. And looking through it, this was a page that really spoke to me. First off, it's a dog. It's a guy talking to a dog. How great is that? And this particular part of the story, and anyone who's seen these things here before knows, I generally tend to gravitate towards storytelling pages. I'm not generally a big splash page, just sort of a big impactful image. I want it to tell me a little something. Usually the pages I gravitate towards tend to be big story moments. And this is that. This is while the main character is looking for his daughter, he ends up finding a dog. I'm getting a little signature there. That belongs to someone that he had met earlier, and the dog helps him along his journey. And I really just liked sort of not just the panel layout, but also the angles that are used. So you can see here we have one long vertical panel that's going down the side where we have this sort of overhead shot going down at an angle where we get to see kind of the back of the dog and we get to see the man looking up. We then get to see sort of close up the faces indicating the communication that's there, and we get to see them. Again, this was a part of the book that really spoke to me, and I just loved sort of the panel composition that happened here. And again, I was shocked to see that there were still pages from this series, from a book I absolutely love. So this came up, didn't do anything with Minor Arcana. Was very happy for that. Next up is going to be another page from who I think is continually the most underrated artist that I've bought pages from, and I think one of the more underrated artists working in comics right now. You've seen him on here before, and this is Netho Diaz. I really hope this... there we go. Look at this. Look at this crazy monster. So, again, Netho Diaz, I have no idea how he continues to be so unknown and so underrated. I think of this guy as sort of a new version. I think of him very similar to Mark Silvestri. And that's not to be hyperbolic, but just sort of what his style reminds me of. And I know I said I'm not a big splash page guy, but this huge cool monster thing came up, and like, of course, like how am I gonna say no to a big huge monster like this? This was far cheaper than it should have been, and I think the reason that is because it's from the series Twilight Imperium, which are some comics based on the board game, which I don't even know if they're getting a full distribution, but I don't care about that. This is such an insanely cool page. How is Netho Diaz not a household name at this point? I mean, you look at the work that he did on Predator, you look at just things like that. When Donny Cates was working on his series Vanish, that he launched as a creator-owned series with Ryan Stegman, when Stegman needed a fill-in artist for issues 5 and 6, they turned to Netho Diaz. In a creator-owned series where they had the complete run of it, and they needed someone to replace Stegman, Netho Diaz was who they went for. How is this guy not completely well-known? I don't know, but I am super happy to have grabbed a piece like that, even if it was from a series that I've never read, nor do I ever plan on picking up. And the last one from Comic-Con Art is really kind of what started all of this. So this is a page from Ice Cream Man number 39, which is the Decompression in a Crash issue. This and the follow-up in issue 40, part 2, were some of my favorite comics that came out this year. You may have seen me talk about it in a video. It's either coming out or it has come out before, depending on when I do these. But those two issues were some of the finest comics I read this year. And this page in particular was one that really spoke to me. So the whole premise of this particular issue is that it takes the sort of trope of decompression in comics, where you stretch a small moment over the course of an issue, you tell the story, over a long period of time. They took that to an extreme, and the entire issue is telling a car crash. That's it. You see right before the car crash happens, and then the car crash, and that's the entire issue. But what it does is it goes through the lives of each of the people in the car, and it takes that idea of your life flashes before your eyes, and it sort of fleshes that out and tells the story of 4 characters who are in there. This was the page that really spoke to me with that. You can see in the middle, this is the dad character, and he is, crashing into the steering wheel. That happens from the name. but we see the moments through his life. We see him getting his first zits. We see him playing in his band in the teenage years. And then really the big part that spoke to me is right down here. And this is on a camping trip when he meets the woman that becomes his wife and is in the car with him during this crash. And it's that moment as you're going through that really just... When I was reading it, that was the one that stuck out to me. And again, these were some of the finest comics I've read this year, or just in general. And I know I have a ton of Ice Cream Man pages, but there was no way I was going to let these pages go by without picking them up. Super happy about this one. But those are the three that I picked up from Comic-Con art. So once again, to recap, we have, I don't think I even said, because I just assume everyone knows, Martin Morazzo, Ice Cream Man, issue number 39. Netho Diaz, Twilight Imperium. And Jeff Lemire, Mazebook, issue 3. Might be issue 4. Can't remember. So as cool as those are, I have one last page to open, and this is the one I've been most excited about. So this page is coming from a new comic representation group known as the Artist Bullpen. They picked up a lot of the artists that used to be on Cadence, and just seem, new. Seems like they're helping the artists out, working with them. They were very easy to deal with. So let's go ahead and check this one out. We've got the classic comic shipped with the painter's tape, just like every Gemini mailer you've ever received. All right, let's check this out. Awesome. So this is another piece from an artist that I have not collected a piece from before, and this is from a series that will very likely end up on my best of comics of 2024, and also was from an artist who ended up on my 2023 list, and that is Jesse Lonergan from Man's Best. I loved this series, mostly off the art of Lonergan, and this page, just one of my absolute favorite pages. And again, it's a storytelling page. I get it. I have a type, but it's also, you can see it's a half splash. And I love the way, if anyone watching this knows Jesse's art at all, it's very much defined by his panel layouts, his work, and especially his use of circles in order to kind of frame things. And I love the way that his sort of, this brushy circles, these different lines going through, conveyed the energy of the fight that these three animals are having. So up through this series, these three animals, Porthos, Athos, and Lovey, had been trying to work together, and tensions had been building and building, and this is finally the breaking point. And you can see that they're all standing off at each other. He uses the way these movement, even in a still moment like this, like oftentimes you'd see movement lines or lines like this to indicate movement, some kind of kinetic action. Here, it just sort of frames that tension. But then we move down here, and we get that bunk storytelling that we have here. And we get a little bit of backstory about why Lovey is such a jerk. And you can see right there, we get these talking head dialogues, and we get this panel at the bottom, the classic owner leaves, Lovey's left on his own, becomes hardened. So this is my first Jesse Lonergan piece. I very much do not believe that this will be my last piece. Arca was on my best of list last year, and again, I very much imagine that this will be on my best of list this year. And I'm so happy to be adding a Jesse Lonergan piece. Over that, that's it. That's what I got. But as always, I want to hear from you guys. Are you original art collectors? If so, what have you been picking up? Have you shown me in a video? Are you someone that that posts that kind of thing? Or if not, is there anything that you got your eye on? Are there any pieces you'd like to do? Or were there any standout pieces you had here? Also, as a side note, if you do like original art unboxing videos, I'm going to leave a link down below, but 2 channels I would love to shout out. Carl's Collectibles, he is a newer channel, and he's also been mixing in a weekly review show that I've really been loving. But he does a ton of original art unboxing and really goes into sort of the behind the scenes that goes into acquiring the piece, what it means to him. Really, really kind of goes in, and I think he does a great job of explaining why the original collecting art is just so important. And then the other one is the aptly named Comic Art Channel. Jason over there, in my mind, is the big daddy of art collecting on YouTube. Incredible collection, incredible pieces. Hasn't posted in a little while, but he's another one that just has really, really good insight onto the original art market. And actually, the last video that he did was a discussion about a recent art auction that had happened where we saw a lot of high-value pieces being moved. But, I mean, you go through that channel and just the pieces that he's showing off are mind-blowing. But with that, I've been Bunkmaster B. You all have been amazing, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.